All right, everybody. This is Damien Jaxxyn from the Midnight Drive, and I'm here with Kira from Madam Reaper. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am tired, as we discussed already. Is that 30? That 30 just makes you tired. How have you been?
I'm also tired. Yeah, maybe it's just like the impending doom of falling into fascism or something, making me so tired.
It's that and all those flights you've been taking.
hmm I have traveled a ton recently,
I would tell
like
us.
more than I want to. Uh, well, we just got back from tour,
Mm,
which was good. I did want to be there. So we were on the East Coast just for 3 shows. We did Baltimore, Philly, and New York, and then came back on Monday.
nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know you don't have one of the two drummers with you, but at least ask you a couple questions. I got my questions here, then gonna ask some
Sweet.
stuff naturally. I was gonna go straight off the list and just like, all right, we're done by. I know you say you got to get out of here at a certain time. So, all right, how how did you end up starting into the music business?
So I mean, I did music my whole life. Like I was a singer growing up and did like theater and stuff, which is probably pretty obvious. Um, and then in 2021 or two, I think 2021, I was like working as a journalist and doing a lot of music journalism. And I was covering Lollapalooza. Um, and I was just like, being on stage would be so much cooler than like writing about the music. And I just like had this moment where I was like, I need to do this. Like I need to be a performer again because I had kind of like not been making music for a few years at that point. Um, Probably I graduated college in 2019, so like for the past 2 years after I graduated college, I like wasn't really making music very much. Um, so I like taught myself how to use a DAW and like how to record, and I made some really shitty demos. Um, and I just like eventually got better as I practiced. And I like didn't really know anybody at all in the music scene in Chicago, so I like went to jams to try to meet people. Um, and then I officially started the Madam Reaper project in 2022, like summer. So it's been like what, 3 years
Yeah.
almost. Um, and yeah, the rest is history, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Well, that is a huge transition from going to just be a journalist to being on that stage. When when was like your first time like getting on stage?
So like in my life, I when I was like probably like 7, I don't know, like I was always performing. I was did like little kid like acting classes and stuff or like singing. Um, so then like the first time performing as Madam Reaper was January 2023.
Were
Yeah.
you like nervous the first time we went on this your persona? Was it just like, oh,
Um, I mean, yeah, I still get nervous for like every show. That one particularly was, I think it was sold out because we were opening for my keys player at the time was in another band and they were headlining and they sold out the venue. So I was like, oh shit, like there's a lot of people here. But for a first show, I think we did very well. No crazy mistakes or like malfunctions.
and it just gradually gone up from there. Uh,
Yeah.
for
Well,
people,
up, down, up, down.
if people listening and if you are watching the video, I got to see you perform here in Champaign Urbana over at the Rose Bowl. You were opening, or I don't know, opening, but with two other bands as well. And Emily, the band, shout out to them. They were like the main, but seeing you and one of your one drummer there, you guys like raise the energy in the room. Like I still
Cool.
talk about this to the day. Like I've told my coworkers and other people, was like, you did one song to where you had your earpieces in, you took them out, you got off stage, you were like, running, dancing, skipping, all literally around the bar. And I don't know if you just went into the split or you did like a cartwheel into it. Then you like break dance, got up.
I definitely did not do a cartwheel.
Okay, because for some reason in my mind, I thought you bust out the cartwheel into the split, and then you did like a breakdance move, got back up, went back on stage, earpieces back in, and then just belted out. I was just like, my God, like this was amazing.
Well, so that song, like, it's like a dance, like, what's the right word? It's like a dance song. It's like, like there's like a repeating like uh vamp kind of thing. It's like the kind of song that you would probably hear at a club. So like I mean, I'm for when I play live, I'm mostly singing and there's this whole instrumental portion where I'm like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do during this like I literally hate when I have to just like stand there on stage and wait for the instrumental section to end. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just go run through the bar and like do the splits to pass the time.
Have you done that
But
before anywhere else?
I think that that night was the first time that I did it. And then I was like, actually, this is a good idea. And then I did it on tour. Um, I knew that I could do the splits because I like will stretch when I'm at the gym or whatever. But in terms of like jumping into them like that, I kind of need to do it in the moment because otherwise I just like get too scared. I just like need the adrenaline, you know?
Yeah, I get that. It's that conscious thing in your brain is like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Did I
Yeah.
stretch enough? Did I...
Yeah. I told my mom, she was like, "You're gonna pull your hamstring."
You got to do like a 10-20 minute like stretch beforehand. Like you're getting
Yeah.
ready and it's like, all right, I gotta go to the back, I gotta stretch real quick. And then you get that moment, it's like, all right, it's time. And then it's
Yeah. I don't stretch before. I probably should.
I don't stretch in general. I need to stretch more.
We all do.
We're getting older, so we gotta stretch.
Yeah.
We're we're
I
not good.
I recommend like 5 minutes a day even. This makes such a difference.
Hmm. All right. How long have you already answered. You say you've been doing it since 2021 or 2023 is when you got the Matter Reaper project.
That was our first show. We were rehearsing in 2022. We like spent, oh my God, like 4 months just rehearsing like once every week, which is crazy looking back on that because now when I have a gig, I'm like, all right, band, let's meet once, unless it's like a really important show or like we have to learn a bunch of new music. But um, I thought that's what you did. I don't know. I don't know why my band put up with it.
You talked about getting into using a DAW and stuff like that. You make your own beats, which is amazing in its own thing outside of, your vocal talents and dancing ability.
Thanks.
What how was that process? Was it, you talked about, making your demos that weren't up to par at the moment, but that from seeing going from there to seeing how it is now, like is it an easier process for you? Was it like a lot of trial and error from like different DAWs? So like what do you kind of use?
Yeah. So I use Reaper, which has nothing to do with my name, surprisingly, but there's actually a ton of videos by this one guy. And I think he like either works for Reaper or is affiliated with them, but like excellent instructions. So that was super helpful. Um, but it is a super steep learning curve just to like, it like learning a DAW is crazy. And then like on top of that, like learning about like EQ, compression, like all the different everything. I'm still learning. I would still consider myself a beginner, like absolutely. Um, but it's just one of those things like the more time you put into it, the better you get. Even my first album, I'll like listen back to it and I still think it's good, but I'm like, wow, I could do so much better now. And then like I have an album coming out in a week, which is crazy, a week and a day. Um, and like, those songs are songs that I wrote a year or two ago. Um, and I still like them, but I'm like, the songs I'm doing now are better because I've just like gotten better at this. So it just takes a lot of time. And you gotta love it because otherwise you're just like, this sucks.
Oh yeah. But as someone who has personally used dolls before, they can be like a little frightening and It takes a minute to get into. So
Yeah.
yeah, like it is no small feat into getting into the music production. Or I use them to try to make sound bites and stuff, and it's still just like a very precision type thing. You talked about your album. Let's get into it. What's the name of your project?
So this album is called This is an Album Because the Industry Says It's Not. It's a very long
Nice.
name.
That is very Fallout Boy. I went to a Fallout Boy show, and all I got is this concert. Oh, all I got is a T-shirt.
Yeah. And yeah, it's coming out on April 11th.
That's
And if you're in Chicago, I'm doing a release show at the Hideout.
nice. How has been the process of making the album?
Good. Actually it was good, but I did a weird like album rollout. So the whole like idea behind this album was I was feeling frustrated with how streaming like makes artists like really pressures you to be like constantly releasing content. Um, I always see like if I'm like on a Reddit thread about music marketing, like people are always like, well, you have to release every 4 to 8 weeks, which is just like an insane expectation
Hmm.
if you're making any kind of music outside of like house, you know? Um, just because like recording takes forever, mixing and mastering takes forever. Um, so yeah, I was just feeling frustrated by that, and like frustrated with how streaming has affected like artists, individual artists. So I decided to like, I was like, I want to release an album, but I'll also like, no, back up. I was like, okay, if you want me to do this, if you want me to release singles, I'll do it, but I'm also going to do it as an album, was my idea.
Hmm.
So I released one single like roughly once a month off of the album, and then there's still some songs on the album that are not out yet, but like a lot of them I've already released. And like when I released them, I put like in parentheses one word of the album title to like kind of like hint at what was coming. So in my brain, this was a wonderful idea, but then like in practice, that meant that I was working on these songs one at a time, and that was crazy because I was like, I got to get this song out in a month, and like I'm still waiting on my master. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I will not do it like that again. It was a little stressful.
All right. Speaking on what you're talking about, like it kind of makes it difficult for like artists and stuff. Uh, Friend of the show, Braden, also he goes by Where the Flamingos. He was actually there at the show with me that
Hmm.
night. Had him on the show, and he was talking about how, with the like with TikTok and Spotify and stuff like that, it kind of makes it hard to basically get seen, or you got to keep producing a lot of content to be seen, and
Yeah.
it's kind of denigrates your like passion for like wanting to make music. Have you felt that? Have you kind of hit that? Have you had a point where like you hit that wall where it's like this doesn't sound as good as I want it to be, or like had to take a break?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the industry was ever like necessarily set up for artists, but I do feel like more and more like society in general is just getting way more split between like the haves and the have-nots. And I think like music is a microcosm of that. Um, and so yeah, I like the pressure to put out content all the time is not like I wish I could just focus on songwriting. I don't really love like I like making videos, but I don't like having to be like, all right, what am I gonna post on TikTok like every day this week? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I found methods to make it more tolerable. My roommate is an excellent videographer, and so we collaborate a lot on like music videos and content, which makes it more fun instead of just like doing it alone. Um, and I also like there's a lot of TikTok like trends or like uh, you know, types of videos that are so cringe, and I think like I
Mhm.
used to feel like I had to do that to like get views, and then I decided like no, I'm not going to do that. Like if it makes me feel like cringe, I'm not going to do it, and that made the process a lot more tolerable.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the industry that we're working in. I can't really do much about that, at least not now. If I ever get famous, I guarantee I will not be making TikToks. Even
Yeah,
if my label's like, "Hey, where's the TikTok?" I'll be like, "Nah."
be like, you make it.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel where you're coming from with that. Like with in my own personal life with my other side job, I it is a thing of like gotta have something, if not weekly, daily, or like a couple days a week. So yeah, it can definitely be daunting and demanding,
Yeah.
and it kind of crushes that part of you where it's like it's something that you want to do, you have that passion for, and it just makes it like it's you're already trying to make it your job, and now it feels like this other part of it is being like your second, third, fourth job, whatever on top,
Yeah.
and it it just chips away at like your passion. So I definitely understand that for sure.
Yeah, and it's like none of us are making a living off of art, and so we all have full-time jobs. So there is already like such limited time to make art, and then you like have to cut into that time to like do content.
Mhm.
It sucks. And also, I think that the way that people interact with like TikTok or Instagram, like Reels or YouTube Shorts or whatever, is not at all good for like building a fan base. I think it's good for like making one song go viral because there's a 15-second section of it, that people
Yeah.
like. But like the number of artists that have actually blown up on TikTok and made a career out of it are very small.
Oh yeah.
Um, and honestly, props to them because I don't think it's an easy thing to do. So,
Well,
um,
it's that thing of like trying to stay on top. Like we
mhm.
I believe we're around the same age. Like we saw it with like Vine, where you only had like 6 seconds to make a video, and then when Vine was gone, they had to go to all these different places. It was still trying to like stay consistent and try to stay on top to keep their like spot where they were. And a lot of people died off, and then some people stayed because they could do that. But going
Mhm.
back to what you were saying, like, yeah, people have full-time jobs. Some people have two jobs, but some people they have a job and then they do like Uber and Lyft and DoorDash. So it's like you don't really have time to do anything, even though
Yeah.
they're all telling us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and blah blah blah. But it's like we can only do so much. And I know it's the whole thing of you got 24 hours in a day, but when half or more of your day is working and then trying to pursue something and then just trying to live,
Yeah.
at the same time, like it's very hard.
It's so hard. And yeah, it's like easy for billionaires to be like, pull yourselves up from your bootstraps. Like Daniel Ek, Spotify CEO, is always saying the dumbest shit about like how artists should be creating content. And I just like it's like so tone deaf. Well, I don't
Mm.
know if like that's maybe not a PC thing to say. It's
No,
very
hey, but is we are not PC here.
it's
No,
just
I'm
like
not.
it's so like it just makes me so mad.
Well, I was gonna ask what are the highs and lows that you've experienced, but I think that's I can ask what have been some of the highs. Like we got to the lows, what have been some of the highs?
In like my music career.
Yeah.
So honestly, one of my highs happened last week. I can find this. Somebody like posted this TikTok um of like
We were
artists.
just talking shit on
I
TikTok.
know. No, this is actually a good thing on
No,
TikTok.
no.
It was like artists I've been listening to, and it was like a digital zine, and they did like little illustrations of everyone, and they did this drawing of me, and it's so cute and like literally looks exactly like how I dress, and I don't know. I just love it.
Hell
So
yeah.
like knowing that there's people out there that like really fuck with my music like that, is the high. Like having people like my music. Because it's so easy to be like, what am I doing? This is terrible, you know?
Yeah. For people who are listening or watching when this comes out on YouTube, you do like a like synth wave pop rock type of I've heard people say it's like I guess like glampire.
Glampire. I haven't heard that. That's awesome.
What made you want to get into that style of music?
So I actually like when I first started this project, way back, well, when I first started like writing music for this project, so back in 2021, one of my favorite bands, and this is like maybe kind of embarrassing, but one of my favorite bands is The Strokes.
There's nothing
Um,
wrong with that.
I don't know, they're like kind of basic, but
Yeah.
um, they're like one of the bands that got me really loving music. And so I was like, oh, I want to make guitar music. I want to be like a badass like rock front woman. But I don't play guitar. So I was like making these demos with virtual guitar instruments, but that shit sounds terrible. Like literally sounds so bad. Um, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna use synths instead because that'll sound better. And then I did, and I was like, oh, this sounds really cool, actually. I like this direction that I'm going. So I kind of just gravitated toward the world of synths and like synth pop. Um, and I think it suits my voice well. Like my voice is very theatrical. Um, and so it, like the drama and like the darker themes, I think it works well.
The macabre,
Um, hmm?
the macabre of it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, And that's also kind of like a lot of the music I listen to is in that vein of like synthy, glam, like theatrical stuff, electronic.
Yeah, we got to get you like one of those keytars.
Oh my God. I one of the bands we played with in Philadelphia had a guitar and I was like, so cool. I love it.
You don't really see those a lot in like places. So
I
yeah,
feel like it's very 80s.
I mean, hey,
Yeah.
they had it down pat. That's where that synth wave came from, and synth pop.
It's hard enough for me to find a good keys player. If I could find a guitar player, I would be very impressed.
Oh yeah, we're putting it out there, everybody. If you are a amazing guitar player, hit up Madam Reaper.
Yeah.
All right, when you're not rocking out on stage and going to all these different states, what do you do in playing your free time?
Um, gosh, I like really don't have much free time.
I mean, who
Um,
does?
the like rare moments that I do, I usually just like, I mean, I love to read. Um, I am also, how about if I had more time, this is what I would do.
Hmm.
Um, I am a visual artist and like actually studied painting in college, and I think that that's like an artistic outlet that I've had to neglect because there's just not enough time for it. So I would definitely do more of that. Um, and I do love to travel, like just for fun, not necessarily for tour. So the few times that I actually do like turn work off and just hang out is when I'm traveling. Um, and I have a cat. I like to hang out with my cat and my partner who plays guitar in the band.
A lot of cat people. Not
Yeah,
not a lot of dog people. There's a lot of cat people.
I mean, I do like dogs too, but it's just harder to have one in the city, you know?
What have been some of the cool places you've gone to?
For tour or just in general?
Just in general, like say you like to travel, like where's been some places that you traveled that was like, I like this. Or or even where are some places that you would like to travel to?
So, when I graduated from college, I actually lived in Kazakhstan for a year, which is pretty
Huh,
crazy. Yeah,
how
most
was
like
that experience?
it was awesome. I feel like that's a part of the world that Americans really don't know much about. Like I did this program where you like teach English and you're kind of just like you don't have a ton of say in like where you go. And so when they
That's
told me
strange.
Kazakhstan, I was like, I don't know where that is. Like, is
It's
that the
like close
Middle
to
East?
Russia. That's like close to
Yeah,
Russia.
it is. Yeah, it's like between Russia and China, basically.
Mm.
And I would say like those are two of the main cultural influences, but it also has like its own interesting culture. So that was really cool. And then when I lived there, I got to travel to some cool places like India. I went to Delhi and Jaipur, and then I went to Georgia, the country, not the
Mm.
state. I went to Georgia, the country, before I ever went to Georgia, the state.
Which
Um,
one's better?
definitely the country. Uh, yeah, and then there's so many places that I want to go to. I mean, I don't know how I could pick. Maybe like Japan. I really want to go to Japan.
That is where I want to go.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, Southeast Asia, so like that whole region. I haven't been there. And then like I've never been to South America. Yeah, I don't know. I would love to travel the whole world.
Yeah, that'll be the dream. Gotta have that pocketbook and passport and stuff on hand. Gotta make sure you got enough money for all that.
Yeah, there's one artist, I forget her name, who did an every single country in the world tour. Uh, which is that's insane. I don't think I
Yeah,
would do that, but something like that could be cool.
yeah, that would take
Uh,
like at least a year and a half, maybe more, because
yeah, I don't know how she did it.
was they go into like multiple places a day? That's what it seems.
No, I mean, I think there's only like 148 countries or some like around there.
So
So you probably could do it in a year. But it would be crazy.
you would have to make sure that like every flight or whatever you went on was like on time. Like
Yeah.
especially if you were like if you want like a time constraint or something like that, which is like we need to hit these at this point in time, gotta hit this place at this time. So yeah, that I mean that would be awesome to do, but also you'd be fucking exhausted. Like I'm taking for this whole year after this, I'm taking like 5 years off. I'm doing the Adele project.
Yeah. Also, like the idea of being able to sell tickets in every single country is crazy. Because even if you're Beyonce, well, maybe Beyonce's a bad example. If you're like Chapel Roan,
Mm,
how many tickets can she reasonably sell in somewhere like the Congo? You know, like I feel like people have their own artists that they're listening to in different parts of the world. So yeah, it's
yeah, for
crazy.
sure. Um, if you could, sorry, if you could collaborate with anyone, who would it be?
Ooh, that is a great question. Wow. Um, I so I've been for the past like year, I've really been heavy listening to LCD Sound System.
Oh yeah.
Um, so maybe James Murphy. I think that he is an incredible like artist and producer, and I'd be interested to see like what he would do with my music. That would also be crazy. I
Yeah.
would be very starstruck.
I think a lot of people would.
Yeah.
Uh, what what would be your Mount Rushmore of rock? Now, what we can switch it to just music in general. I've done that before for these interviews. If you just didn't want to do rock, if you want to do of all music,
Okay, let's do all music. Well, I could just do rock.
it's up to
Uh,
you.
okay, we'll do rock. We'll make it. It'll be too hard if I do all music. So just rock, I would say David Bowie, um, Lou Reed, Prince, and I guess James Murphy. Like I don't know, does that count as rock? He does like some punk stuff.
Indie punk is
I
the realm of rock.
I hate that they're all guys. Like I chose four men. I don't like listen. I don't listen to that many female rock artists. Like I listen to female artists who have like a rock album,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Not listening to like Heart and uh
not really. I respect the hell out of their vocals, but yeah,
yeah,
I don't really listen.
yeah, they
Oh,
they
you
are some
know,
heavy hitters.
maybe like uh I just had a thought and now it left me. Yeah, I guess that's it. I have four dudes.
Yeah. I was out of my mind going like does
And three white dudes.
yeah. I was gonna say like does Prince count as rock, but I'm just like
Oh
eh,
yeah. I think so. I mean, he can shred. So I would say so. And he has some rockier songs, like especially on his first album. Um, but I think just by nature of like how much he can shred, he counts.
sure. I would count Purple Rain as like a rock ballad, like a power ballad.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
All right. And then oh what has been your favorite place to perform?
I feel like if I don't say Champaign Urbana, I'm gonna get in trouble.
No, you are not gonna get in trouble. Trust me.
Um, Favorite place to perform? I mean, honestly, my favorite venue to perform is Shuba's in Chicago.
Mm.
Uh, I just like really love that venue. It's really nice. There's a really nice green room. Um, the like people always come out to shows at Shuba's. So that was cool. I think my favorite city to perform in, I mean, based on the tour that we were just on, Philadelphia was pretty sick. Like everybody on the bill was so nice. Everybody that came to the show was so nice. Like all the bands were so talented, but it's really hard to choose.
Well, yeah, Philly sounds like for as much crap as people give Philadelphia, it does seem like it's a good place to go to.
Yeah, huh?
No, good.
I really loved it. Apparently, we played in a neighborhood called Manayunk, which like is kind of like the Logan Square of Philly. So it's, I
Mm.
guess, well, you don't live in Chicago, maybe you don't know what that means, but like, um,
No, I know Logan's.
okay, yeah. So like the gentrified, like yuppie neighborhood.
Mm.
Uh, and the girl that we were staying with was just like, I hate Manayunk. Like, I hate all the people here. And I was like, that's fair, but also like everybody at this show was so nice, and everybody like, if that's your worst neighborhood, I can only imagine what the rest of the city is. So,
Yeah. That's probably how like people feel like in New York, what is it like Brooklyn and stuff has like been
hmm
gentrified, and it's people. Maybe I probably feel like it's like that. Uh,
yeah.
what would you like to? I think I'd ask, but what would you like to perform like like one on those big stages when you are famous?
Like a venue or a city or
Venue, city, country.
I mean, I really would love to play like in Germany at Berghain in Berlin. Uh that's like that famous techno club. Um yeah, I feel like that would be a sick show. That would probably be the highlight of my career. Otherwise, like there's like even venues in Chicago that are like my, dream, like playing Metro in Chicago would be crazy. Um but yeah, Berghain, I'll say.
I would love to play the United Center. Just
Really?
yes, like just
I
to.
feel like
I was gonna say like
I
just
feel like
in the United Center would be fucking fantastic.
yeah, I mean I would also love to play a stadium any stadium like that because that would mean that I'm huge and making a bunch of money and but I feel like a stadium show would be weird because there's so many people that there might as well be no one. Like it's so
Hmm.
impersonal and I feel like that would be weird.
I don't know. I
It'd
feel
be a
like
weird experience.
if you built it the right way, because like I wouldn't want it to be like me on stage and just all these people. Like, nah, I want it. I bring up wrestling a lot on this show. I would like it like that to where like I'm in the middle, people are all around me, and then just doing my thing
Mm.
like that.
We were recently at a we were eating at this Mexican restaurant and they had like some Mexican like it was just like YouTube, but like Mexican pop superstar show, arena show. And I'm pretty sure it was in like a wrestling arena. And I was like, this is cool. I like this that they're in the middle. Um, but then that meant that everybody had to come up through the floor,
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
which was funny.
Mexico, they love their wrestling. I'm a big fan of
Yeah.
AAA that they and all the like, other like smaller ones they have out there too. Like it gets crazy, but
Yeah.
they take wrestling serious.
I was in Mexico City in January and we wanted to go to a lucha libre match. And so I bought tickets, But then we realized we were in Mexico City, and I realized that the tickets I bought were for a stadium in Puebla, which is like 4 hours away or something.
Oh man,
So we didn't get to go.
that would have been a great experience too. But
I'll just have to go back. That's
yeah,
another country I would really like to play in, Mexico and Brazil. I've gotten a few people message me on Instagram being like, come to Mexico, come to Brazil. And I'm just like, I would love to.
yeah, you'd be like well traveled once,
Yeah,
like getting everything off the ground, get that big name, and then like, all right, well, we got fans here, 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 and here, so we're going on
that's the dream.
always. All right, I got one more question, and then I got to get you out of here. It's already 5 o'clock.
Cool.
Whether you are at home, you are traveling, where is your favorite place for food?
Ooh, wow.
This is
Oh my God, that's hard.
yeah, this is always the stumper. Out of all the questions, this one is the stumper.
Okay, so I'm gonna answer in Chicago and then also like outside of Chicago.
Do
In Chicago, my favorite restaurant is Spacca Napoli, which is like Neapolitan pizza place.
it.
Um, and it's just amazing. I don't know. It's like I've been to Italy and I honestly think the pizza at Spacca is better.
Uh, somebody,
Um,
somebody's gonna be
and then
listening in
outside of the
Italy.
country, uh, I think the best food I had outside of the country was either okay, I went to Beijing in 2019 and sometimes I still think about this meal. We were literally in like a mall food court
Mm,
and it was like a Chipotle type thing where you like go through the line and tell them what you want.
mhm.
And it was so spicy. Um, but whatever I had was like one of the best meals of my life. So I guess that mall in Beijing, I couldn't tell you what mall it was. Um, but I just feel like it's really hard to find good Asian food in the US. Like Americanized Asian food is its own thing and it like still is good, but getting like actually authentic Chinese food or whatever is hard. Um, so yeah, I would say that. What
Uh,
about you?
for me, if it's like hometown stuff, Beggar's Pizza, it's my favorite. Whether it is the deep dish, and yes,
Okay.
we eat deep dish. I know they say it's for tourists. Fuck all that. I still eat deep dish pizza, and I get tavern style pizza. I get both. Um, White Castle is my favorite for fast food. If that's basic or whatever, hey. Um, and I've only been to like a couple states. I haven't been out of the country really, outside of like the Bahamas. Um, I would say when I went to Denver, and this is basically, they have something called I believe it's called the Mile High Pizza, which is basically
Okay.
think of kind of like a deep dish pizza, but instead of it just being like all that sauce, like they instead of it being like that, it's on top of everything. And then the place that I went to was called Bojo's.
Okay.
It was like it was either on like Diner Drive-ins and Dives or like Manfred's Food. I can't remember.
Mm,
But when they make the pizza, it's like by pound, and then the crust is like just rolled up pastry. So it's like,
oh,
yeah, it's like you eat the pizza, but they tell you to save the crust, and they give you like this honey sauce to go to eat
oh,
with.
no, that
It
sounds
is,
amazing.
yes, it is amazing.
Wow. I
But
love pizza needs to have good crust.
hmm
Like I I firmly believe that. I
yeah,
want it to be a pizza where I want to eat the crust.
yeah, that is something where it's like, hey, you're gonna want because like it is like roll like they roll it out like it looks like some kind of like pastry, and then they give you like this squeeze bottle of like warmed honey.
Ugh, that sounds so good.
Yeah, it is
Now I'm
very good.
hungry.
You know, I haven't eaten today.
No, it's so bad.
I'm probably getting Indian food here in a little bit, or
Okay.
if I wanted to eat my leftover pizza that I got yesterday, I got Domino's. That
Domino's is passable.
yeah, it's
I'm
good. It's good trash pizza.
yeah. They're I don't like their crust. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. So I have to like chew gum after or whatever.
I got you on that one, yeah. But all right, I know you got to get up out of here. You got a very busy day. I appreciate you being on.
Of course. No, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited you hit me up. So,
Hell yeah. Well, tell people where they can find you. Tell people about the album once more.
yeah, you can find me on Instagram at madam underscore reaper. You can stream the album wherever you listen to music. So on streaming, I am Madam Reaper and the Gentleman's Club. Um, let's see, what else? I already plugged my show, but I guess again, if you're in Chicago, got a show on April 11th at the Hideout. Um, and yeah, if you like my music, follow me. I post all my updates on Instagram. So that's pretty much everything.
Hell yeah. Make sure you follow, listen to the music, even though even though Spotify sucks,
Yeah.
make sure
I mean,
you
if you listen on Spotify, consider switching to Tidal or something.
I might have to go the Apple Music route or something. Uh,
Yeah.
but make sure you listen to the music because you are amazing and definitely can see you getting higher up there in the future.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. But all right, everybody, we out. Live long and rock on.
Bye.
I was beautiful, why? And she said.